What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Real Estate Moguls. My name is Findlay-Shirras, and on today's show, we're talking with Kang, co-founder and CEO of Reasi, a digitized real estate closing platform that automates property settlements so customers can transact real estate using only their phones, which we all know we're on. So thank you, John, for creating this and being on the show.
Yeah, good to be here. That's right.
So for everyone who has no idea what your company does, why don't you give people a brief overview?
Sure. So beyond what you mentioned, we streamline legal documents, handle all the money deposits in-app, within the app, and also provide real-time status updates. So with the end result of being able to close on your property just using your phone. But beyond that, I think what's really cool about what we can bring to this crowd here at Inman is we do a revenue share program with brokers. So in this age and this period of margin compression, we're giving this option to brokers to expand their bottom line by closing on their own deals with very limited effort.
Now, do you think some brokers will take that money to improve their bottom line, or do you think they'll use it as a marketing tool to now attract customers and say, hey, I can give you this rebate and save you some money, so use me instead of the competition? I'm
hoping both. So some of that money is real income that they can use because they incurred incremental risk in the transaction. But that being said, the risk is not really that big. So it also brings a convenience factor to the consumers, for their consumers specifically. So it should be able to bring a competitive advantage to the markets.
Now, how did you get into this? Like, why did you start it?
My core of my background is software development. I was an engineer for about 10 years, and then during the 2000s, did a stint as a loan officer for about 3 years at a local mortgage bank in New Jersey. And just found that experience, let's say, to be pretty eye-opening for a lot of reasons. And, mostly because of the inefficiency, a lot of the kind of the bad behavior I witnessed. So this is all pre-recession, so I think a lot of people might be able to relate. But as a software developer, I really wanted to understand what was going on because I saw tons of opportunity, and Reasi is kind of what my vision to how to make it most efficient and less painful.
What do you see as inefficient?
Really, to me, it's just the multiple parties and multiple systems. So many different people touch your transaction. And the data gets transferred very insecurely from one area to another through very kind of insecure means. So hackers today, I think it's very, very evident that it's a very fragile process. So wire fraud is big, very dangerous practice occurrence today. So being able to streamline all that data, all that processes in the workflow under one roof, really solves a lot of the issues.
How big is the wire fraud problem?
The hard data I saw was 1 billion about a couple of years ago. Last year's estimate was about 4 to 5 billion stolen.
45 billion stolen.
425 billion. Yeah.
425 billion.
Yeah.
In the world, North America?
Just the U.S. Yeah.
And how is it stolen?
Just through hackers, posing as your escrow agent or your title agent, giving false directives, instructions for wiring your money. So it's a very simple thing. You get an email as a buyer, you'll wire it off thinking you're going to get your home soon, and then because of some type of like communication delay, you actually don't know. You can't confirm that the wire actually got your escrow company, and
how do they know to email the buyer in the moment where they're supposed to be sending it to their proper person versus
not being the hacker myself, I would guess that it's mostly through email. But I can see how all this information's got, kind of been, they can procure all this information through various means. But email hacking is probably the easiest way from what I understand. Like you can snoop, create little worms that basically tail all the emails going back and forth. So as a hacker, you can time your email perfectly to the customer, and send false wire instructions.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a pretty bad problem. Yeah.
What geographic areas do you cover?
Right now, just California. So we only launched in March, but we have a pretty good progress for the time that we've been in market.
And all of California?
Yeah.
And do you expect to expand to other states anytime soon?
Yeah. Right now, we could under this broker revenue share model, we can be live in every state, assuming we get a partner. But right now, we're just going through some growing pains, working out some kinks in our product. But it's really more about convenience factors than anything. If we have a strong demand from any particular state, we can easily service them.
What kind of partner do you think you're looking for to help you do that quicker?
Primarily brokers. Our attorneys work as well because attorneys are brokers in lots of states too, and title agencies as well that want an escrow partner or a counterpart.
Cool. What kind of deals are you doing? Is it all kinds of real estate deals, or is there a certain type?
For now, we're doing vacant land and low property value transactions. So this is just to get our learning down and eventually get into homes in about 6 months.
Yeah. And so all kinds of deals in the next 6 to 12 months. Like, what's stopping you from doing it now?
Really just getting the extra funding on our balance sheet and be able to do larger transactions. It's really not a operational limitation. It's more of our payment partner limitation.
Yeah. Have you guys raised any money?
Yeah, we raised a few hundred thousand from outside investors.
Are you raising right now?
Yes, we are.
What are you raising?
Right now we're raising 500,000. Most of it's committed, and honestly, I'm probably never going to be stopped. I'll never stop fundraising. It'll just continue. It'll just happen continually. I've kind of I'm accepting that fate.
Yeah. What's the story? Like, why should people invest in your company? What's the grand vision?
I think we have a very flexible platform, so we have a lot of options to test out what works in the market. So this broker revenue share model is something I don't think that many other competitors or there aren't that many options to do this currently. There's also if we run into partners that are a little bit more inefficient or hard to get in touch with or work with, we have workarounds with our platform too. Being more a peer-to-peer centric platform, we are aiming to circumvent inefficiency where it makes sense. So in the mortgage world, that means connecting lenders or investors rather directly to borrowers. So in our case, we'd be a very tech-savvy middleman mortgage broker that would be just very efficient. So offering 0.5% less than what the market provides.
And what's the main reason why a big broker partner would want to work with you guys and give your system a shot?
I think the industry has never had like a one-stop shop experience before. So what we could do for that broker is become that back-end closing platform, kind of that shopping cart feel, or like eBay shopping cart feel maybe, where the broker has a listing, their buyers, once they show the property to the buyer can make an offer right on their site. And have the workflow live right on their platform. So we would be that execution partner for them.
How many transactions have you guys done so far?
We've procured our 22nd deal, so we'll be closing on that in the next couple of weeks.
Anything else, like when you think about some of the metrics that you've achieved, things you've achieved that you think are cool and impressive, that you're proud about? What are some of those things?
Yeah, I think our internal metric, our automation is that's what we're tracking internally. Getting that down to 3 hours is really our goal by the end of the year. I think that's a very big task, but I think it's doable. And
what's that in comparison? So 3 hours for your process compared to what is it normally?
That's about 20, 30 hours for the traditional escrow office or transaction, yeah.
And what's the benefit? Like, I go, okay, 24 hours versus 3 hours. Like, does it really matter?
Yeah, I think it does because the more hours somebody works on a transaction, that's the cost you have to incrementally absorb as a buyer or seller. So fewer hours, fewer fees. That's really what it translates to.
How does your automation work?
So we have a lot of traditional technology at play. We also have a blockchain smart contract that helps on the back end. So we see blockchain as one of the best technologies to lean out a transaction because in nature it is peer-to-peer. We see that peer-to-peer transaction as kind of the most efficient model. It's achievable, I would say not anytime like in the next couple of years, but it can get there in the next 5 years, I think.
So let's go deeper into blockchain and crypto and real estate and the applications of the two things. So like really big picture, when you look at what blockchain, what that technology is, what it can do, how is it really going to help the real estate industry improve the experience for the consumer or for the people working in it, like the agents and brokers?
Sure. Fundamentally, I think it's just going to be the best backbone infrastructurally, if that's a word. So, being a unifying layer, I think that's something that the industry sorely needs. So all the way from the listing to contracts to closing and the money. Right now it's solved through 15 different systems, through various CRMs, and then you have multiple people doing data entry from one system to another. Maybe if they're tech savvy, it'll be more of a API call, but you just have a kind of like a smorgasbord, or kind of like this Frankenstein monster of a solution today. And blockchain could be something that just streamlines a lot of that out and provides a much more direct interaction between parties.
And what would it be replacing?
It wouldn't really be replacing. It would be replacing like email and a little bit. It's more of like it's adding like this backbone to all the different parties, and right now that just doesn't exist.
So explain to me the application of how you're using blockchain and crypto to help provide a better solution.
So right now we're using it really in the simplest fashion as kind of like a digital checklist. So being that peer-to-peer, if a buyer and seller wanted to interact directly in a theoretical context, they could do so using our blockchain smart contract, and it'll be just like a very tech-savvy napkin. They can write a contract on that and then execute it directly to themselves. So that's something that we help with, navigating that checklist. In the future, we could support cryptocurrency transactions with the smart contract, and we can also use that cryptocurrency to go outside the U.S. pretty easily. So going global, I think that'll be kind of a big benefit of this as well.
So in order for buyers and sellers to interact on your platform, does the money transfer through the platform? And if it transfers through the platform, does it become a cryptocurrency and then go back into the regular currency as it does that?
Right now it doesn't on our platform, but that's kind of the model that we want to get to when the regulation is a little bit more friendly in the States. But yeah, I mean the token world is ideally where we want to be.
Would you be creating your own token or working off of Ethereum or Bitcoin or something?
Either option's okay. Right now there's a few stable coins out there, but it's just not very easy to get these tokens, so that's why we've held off on that part. If that option becomes very easy, then we would absolutely use just somebody else's token. There's no need for us to create our own. But when we get to that point when we're ready, and if no options exist, then we'll create our own and figure out a way that way.
What are your thoughts on? I know it's July 2019. Bitcoin is on the rise again. Like, what are your thoughts on the current state of cryptocurrency? Are there for sure stable coins? Are there some ones that you think are the stuff to be certain about?
I think regarding stable coins, I still don't. I'm not confident in any one. I think a real business needs to emerge that leverages one of these really heavily. I think real estate's a really good place for that to start. But in terms of like my endorsement, I don't know if I can say that yet on any stablecoin. I'm generally very long on cryptos. I have to be. Bitcoin is the mother, and it's the most secure out there. So I'm naturally long on that one.
What do you think has to happen in order for it to achieve critical mass, in order for it to become stable, whatever coin does emerge? Like, what are some of the things that you think need to happen in society or in the business world, in some industry, to like get it there, so that so that a lot of stuff can start running through it?
Yeah, I think so. I think there's a variety of ways that adoption could be heavier. For us personally, as for my company, it's really all about a really easy to get stablecoin that's also trusted and verified, and we would be like the kind of the underwriter for these transactions too. But yeah, so being able to get in and out of these dollars, dollar coins very easily, that'd be one way. For a cryptocurrency in particular, yeah, I mean, I think a big player has to adopt it, like Ethereum. Like if somebody wanted to transact in Ethereum or Bitcoin, the market has to see that as an adoption. I think that's a longer play.
What kind of big player do you think might be the first one to make it happen?
I mean, I think any like large, I think a lender probably, a large lender, like an investor. Not when I mean lender, I mean like an investor. So somebody who underwrites loans, yeah, and is okay doing it with cryptocurrency. That might do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
On your website, you talk about realtors becoming one-stop shops servicing all cash deals for homes and vacant land. So are you trying to say that realtors will get paid in more ways than just, I helped you sell a home, so now I get a commission? If they're a one-stop shop doing all of it, the mortgage, lending, escrow, title, and helping facilitate, does that mean they'll get paid in more ways? So if their commission goes down from selling the house, they can actually subsidize it by making money in other ways?
Yeah, and I think in specifically our case, it would be the escrow fee that they could share in. So the fee would go to the broker. I don't know if the realtor, yeah, I think there's an option for the realtors as well, but the broker definitely would get a revenue share. The realtor could get like a transaction fee. I mean, like a facilitation fee on top of that. So yeah, but yeah, I mean, I think that's a really natural way for them, for the broker side and the selling side, to boost some of their margin loss lately.
What other industries do you think could be applied? So you got escrow, like what other services and fees do you think could be kind of clumped into this whole workflow?
Maybe like other industries, or
yeah, like is it going to happen with insurance? Is it going to happen with renovation of houses? Is it going to happen with mortgage?
I don't have a real clear answer on the participation from other parties like that. But like in the mortgage side, we have our own we're developing our own option on that piece as well. So yeah, I'm not sure the revenue share would be there at that part. Yeah, honestly, I don't. Yeah, right now it's not as clear.
Okay.
It's really about like who does the work and who bears risk. And that'll be who gets compensated in our model.
So here's one of the things that when I start learning about fractionalized ownership and digitizing the investment and purchase of real estate, I see REITs dying. Yeah. Because it's like, why would I want to just own a piece of the firm? The whole point of me getting into a REIT is to own real estate.
Right.
And if blockchain can help me actually own a piece of a physical thing in the ground that pays me a monthly disbursement of revenue, then that's what I'll put my money in. Do you think like that's the future?
Yeah, I think on the fractional ownership piece, I think there's a lot of things that could a lot more opportunities that will reveal themselves, not only of buildings but also types of debt and financing. So like you mentioned with the REIT, I think mortgage-backed securities are another piece that are very similar, that could have like very similar disruption. Basically, who wants to pay that overhead to consolidate all these when you could do it more directly with a cheaper value proposition, so more profitable for the end users. I think that totally makes sense.
Cool. Now, getting back now to your business, as you're trying to evolve and you're trying to grow, like what are the challenges that you're facing, apart from finding a broker partner and raising money, which you're doing just fine, or it sounds like? What are the other challenges you face in trying to really grow this fast?
Sure, yeah, you kind of mentioned it. It's really about the partnerships with the incumbents. So partnering with people who, we basically want to partner as much as possible, but we've been feeling a lot of resistance. And we've been lucky enough to find a title company that has been very friendly towards us, but we need a lending partner as well. We need also insurance partners to help with that integration. So yeah,
What's the resistance been about?
Just like I think a variety of reasons. A lot of people are just they're afraid of change, or not afraid of change. Like maybe it's more like things are working. They don't see the need. even the more tech savvy players, they have a lot of options these days. There's so many startups, and even for the space I'm in, where I think it's like a little bit harder to start up a company. There's quite a few in this space too. So having from their end, I think they have a lot of options. Do I want to focus my time and resources on this startup or that startup? I think it's hard to make that decision on their end.
So why should they pick you and work with you and give you a shot?
I think we've done a lot with very little so far. I think once we get more momentum, I think we're going to really maximize our bang for the buck in terms of our investment and output. So yeah, I mean, I've to compare, like we've had like $200,000-300,000 in funding, and we've launched in a very difficult space, highly regulated space. Similar companies have had millions of funding with kind of similar results. So I think we're just lean and mean, maybe.
On.
But yeah, I think we're also very we have our priorities straight. This lean and mean approach kind of makes you hungry and makes you pick your next steps as if your life depended on it, which kind of our case.
So if someone's watching and they want to get in touch with you and partner with you and stuff, how can they do it? How can they get connected to you?
Reach out to me on LinkedIn or john@reasi.com, JOHN@Reasi, REASI.com. I think those are the easiest ways for me.
Cool. All right, man. Well, thanks for being on the
thank
show.
You, Grant. Yeah.
Appreciate it. As always, if you want to get to know the tech startups and the people in this industry who are moving it forward so that you can stay on top of the trends, then subscribe to the YouTube channel, subscribe to the podcast, click that bell icon so you get notified when the next interview comes out so you can always stay up to date and be great in real estate.